Paula Reid joins us now from the White House. Paula, any sense that this executive order may be subject to a court challenge?
It's likely, Errol. There's a lot of folks who believe that trying to even cull databases in this way is an effort to intimidate people, specifically cause anxiety and fear within immigrant communities here in the U.S., because it's not just culling the databases. There's also this looming threat of raids over the weekends. So some advocates argue that this is all part of an effort to stir anxiety and fear in immigrant communities. It's unclear, though, whether this approach will face legal challenges, but oftentimes a lot of things the president does, someone somewhere, Errol, files a lawsuit, but not all of them have merit, and it's just unclear at this point if anyone will even attempt to block this in court.
And the president explained that he's ordering every government department and agency to provide records containing citizenship information to the Department of Commerce. What obstacles could the administration face in just obtaining those records? Is it the lawsuits you alluded to?
Well, traditionally, it's not very easy to get government agencies to communicate and share information effectively. That is just one of the bureaucratic challenges of facing anyone who wants to do anything interagency-wise. But at this point, I mean, you have the President of the United States ordering it. He seems to have a political motivation to help make this happen, but there could also be legal challenges as well. But, Errol, anytime you try to get the agencies to work together on something, it's always going to be an uphill battle.
Right. I've heard it compared to herding cats, so to speak. So
it's an insult to cats.
Right, exactly. Now, the president has faced so much pushback in this quest, right, to try and add a citizenship question to the census. And we now know that's not happening, but the president said he's not backing down from this mission to get more information about who and who is not an American citizen. Why is he fighting so hard on this?
Well, there's a lot of pressure on him from certain factions of the Republican Party to continue to pursue this. Even though the administration's efforts at the Supreme Court level were blocked to add that question to the census, there was still this momentum to get him to continue the fight. Even if they knew they would lose in court, they wanted to make it clear to the president's supporters that he was fighting on this issue, that he's trying to get this information. Remember, he campaigned on this hard-line immigration enforcement platform, and this was an issue that is really important to a certain faction of the Republican Party. And you have to remember that Supreme Court opinion, Errol, it didn't say that you could never have a citizenship question. It just says that the justification given by this administration didn't quite pass muster. They believed it was pretext. So they saw an opening there, but they seem to think at this point an executive order wasn't going to do the job to push this through for the 2020 census. But this seems to be one way to continue to pursue this issue, to try to get some of this additional information. What's not clear, Errol, is if these federal databases actually have any additional information beyond what they have at their fingertips now.
Now, you mentioned that rationale, the Supreme Court saying they're just not convinced the reasoning is valid enough to let this go through. So has the White House explained anything now about its rationale?
Well, so far, it does not appear that they need to present a new rationale because they're not trying to add the citizenship question. If there are legal challenges to this effort to cull databases for information, they may need to come up with a rationale, and they would have to do a better job than they did in the census litigation. Because in the census litigation, Errol, they were arguing that they needed this information to enforce the Voting Rights Act. And that particular argument just wasn't supported by the case law, by the actions of the administration. Chief Justice Roberts looked at it and said, this is pretextual. You're up to something else. You don't actually want this citizenship question for the reason you've stated. If you can come to me with a legitimate reason that is supported by the evidence, we may let you have the citizenship question. The court's not saying you can't ask about citizenship. They're just saying you can't go about it this way. So if they have additional legal challenges to this new executive order, they may have to provide a justification. But today, there was no new justification presented beyond what the president has repeatedly articulated, which he believes he should be able to ask this question.
So fascinating. Paula Reid at the White House for us, and would never insult cats or dogs. Thanks very much.